Welcome back to I Did This Instead of Killing Myself. Alexis isn't in the apartment, so I'm gonna be loud and not awkward. Welcome back. I want to be more high energy today. How are you doing? Happy Monday. Happy Monday. I realize in the other intros, I have not been as happy or energetic. You know what? I am happy. I'm choosing to be happy today. I hope you are too. It is the week of September 24th, 2023. And God, why do I keep saying September? It's freaking July. It's July. I just want to say September. I just want to say September. No, it's July 24th, 2023. It is a beautiful day here in Queens, Astoria, New York. I feel good. I feel really good. I think it's because I'm trying to settle into New York, make it home, and really, I think Alexis and I are adjusting as roommates. I think it's going to work. Alexis is amazing, but any roommate situation is an adjustment. Alexis just put out a podcast yesterday, or this weekend. I encourage you to listen to it. It's titled Comedian Strips Naked on Podcast. So check that out. Alexis is awesome and provocative. And we had a fantastic weekend here in New York. We saw Ryan Rubin. I was able to do a show with him at the Tiny Cupboard in Brooklyn. Big shout out. Thanks for Ryan to vouch for me and have me host for that show with Boris Kaikin. That was really fun. I lost my keys this weekend. Maybe that's why I feel good, because I feel like that was one of the worst things that I thought could happen to someone in New York. I was out with a friend, went to dinner, and I'm starting to like carry a backpack around with me because that's what all the cool New York people do. Like when you're around, you have to like carry a backpack because if you need a cell phone charger to feel like you can still move if you're away from your home. So I had a backpack with me, and I was moving from place to place, and I left it at a restaurant, and then we went back to try and find it, and the restaurant had closed. So I realized if I didn't have Alexis to let me back in, I could have been homeless. You're really only 1 or 2 steps away from being homeless, even if you think you have like a bank account and an identity. If you are in the city and lose your keys, you're screwed. So survived that, did a great show, hung out with Ryan, had pizza, hung out with Ryan's friends and his lovely wife. I hope they don't hate me because I was in a mood. I was very loopy and goofy, but yeah. And New York's good, and I do still miss all you guys. And I was excited about today's episode because we have 2 fantastic guests today that really brought me back in time and made me miss everyone in Asheville. We have 2 amazing guests today, Christian Lee and Moira Goree. This was going to be just Christian Lee's episode. We're recording outside of the Odd on a Tuesday, which is a fantastic open mic hosted by James Harrod every Tuesday at 9 o'clock in Asheville. And before the shows, a lot of comics are often hanging out at picnic tables. So we sat down and had a really great interview. Moira's fantastic. Christian's fantastic. Both been doing comedy a long time. Moira's been doing comedy for 6 years plus. She's one of Asheville's top comics. She is opened for Maria Bamford as well as Shane Torres. Christian, also fantastic. You can see Christian. They performed regularly booked in Asheville. And Christian is originally from Puerto Rico. Lived in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for a while, now living in Asheville. In addition to stand-up, Christian creates outstanding comic art you can check out at Pixelate for Work on Instagram. He's also a yo-yo aficionado. But these 2 are fantastic. We just kind of riffed at the top and had a good time. We talked about 9/11. Where were you during 9/11? Some of the settings we talk about are at Chili's, Catholic school, and Chuck E. Cheese. Moira explains why every Southern VCR came with a VHS tape of Remember the Titans. I have that movie memorized. Christian explains his affinity for yo-yos. Christian actually lent me a yo-yo for a while, and we bonded over that. Yo-yo, such a good little skill to work on. Christian loves it because it's one of those things where people don't ask you what's your hustle going to be. You can just like a yo-yo. What else do we talk about? Puerto Rican colonizers. We learn about all the evils that the colonizers have done to the what is Puerto Rico? A colon? No, it's a province. I'm blanking. Whatever. Christian and Moira tell a story about how they tripped a bunch of people out at a corporate fundraiser comedy show for a hurricane. Came in hot, and how there's the time and place kind of matters for comedy shows. Christian makes the case for Puerto Rican independence. And the two of them explained to me why Ronald Reagan sucks. Yeah, I come from a right-wing upbringing and background. Not right-wing, but whatever. I'm just, straight white male Republican kind of guy, and they sell me on the case that Ronald Reagan sucks. Pretty compelling. I bought it. Moira explains some comedy nuggets she got from Maria Bamford. And they both provide some really great advice about authenticity, how they view their stand-up. Really great wisdom towards the tail end of the interview about how to continue staying authentic and to just keep going with comedy, and how it never ends. So you don't need to get in your own head, and how they both keep that in mind when developing their stand-up. I love both of these people. Check them out. Miss you guys. What else? I don't know. I'm all over the place this morning. Follow them at the links below. I hope you enjoyed the interview. Not going to do the local shows, but again, if you're looking for details on local shows, follow Greenville SC Comedy on Instagram. They have all the details there. Got more episodes coming out. I'm trying to get more recorded with New York comics, so please continue to support the show. Tell a friend. View counts are probably going to start dropping off because we're not present in the scene anymore in Greenville, but really appreciate you guys supporting and catching up with us. All right. I talked longer than I normally do for the intro, but whatever. You can always skip ahead. There's links to skip ahead. Hope you guys have a great week, and I hope you enjoy my interview with Moira and Christian. Here it is. Welcome back.
Oh, shit. Oh, God.
We're live. Moira, what's up? You don't have to stop singing. You can keep singing.
Oh, but it's copyright. I'm remembering now.
I did this instead of paying royalties.
We were just talking.
Yeah.
And then I started singing a bunch of copyrighted songs.
Remember the Titans?
And then from Remember the Titans of yes, that also. I didn't sing I cannot remember the theme song for Remember the Titans. I just remember it ruling part of my childhood in a way that
Did you love that movie?
What? Teen Titans?
No, remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
Now we're mixing it up, and this is a very the South thing to have happen.
Yeah.
Is like okay. So
we can't get sued
for those of you who are not from the South. I think every VCR player in the South came with a copy of Remember the Titans.
Did it
on VHS, right? Like I think it had to, for the reason that every time a teacher was hungover, it's like invariably it's Denzel Washington teaching the 50s about racism. I don't know. It's like it's truly like it's just like don't be racist. Yeah. The movie. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
I
thought Mr. Long was just really cool. You're telling me he was just like me.
Yeah. It's truly like, and it was a very, it's like, oof. Let's talk about other stuff.
So VCRs in the classroom.
Yeah.
Yes, VCRs in the classroom. Anybody else?
Fond memories.
Yeah.
Sort of. I follow 90s pages on Instagram, and I like it.
Yeah. There is a particular moment that I remember when, and this is I've seen memed many a time. But when they rolled the cart with the TV on it into the classroom on a particular date in 2001, and then started and then played the television And
Yeah.
then where were you on 9/11 is
I
what
was in
I'm
gym
saying.
class.
You were in gym class.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. What a
And-
crazy time.
But they did play it all day.
They played it all day.
Mhm.
They were like, go home now, which was a weird thing.
They sent you home?
They sent us home, which is really a more disconcerting thing to have happen. Is like, hey,
Yeah.
check out this building blowing up.
Yeah.
Everybody go home now, because I wasn't sure if the school was gonna be there in the morning. I thought that they were like, all right.
Where were you living at the time?
I was living here. I was living in Asheville. I'm from Asheville.
Yeah. Could have been their next target. I know.
I doubt it, but as a 7-year-old, I wasn't entirely sure.
Yes. Christian, where were you?
Catholic school.
Yeah.
What did they have to say about it?
I don't know. No one ever sat me down to like explain like, hey, this really bad thing. It was just like everyone got sent home, and then like fast forward a little bit, and someone made it like someone made a reference to the incident. And I'm like, hold on, could you explain that? They did what now? Twice?
Oh wow.
So yeah, like super sheltered. Just focus on God, because
oh wow, that's
it's a little culty. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That's fair. I ended up at a Chili's
That evening.
that in like the hour after my dad like picked me up from school, and he was like
Right after the planes hit.
yeah, literally like between the planes.
There's no line. We're going to Chili's.
No, like I look at one, like it's on TV, kablamo, and then I'm like in the line. I get picked up. It's like I'm like go to, and then we're just at Chili's, and then the other one hits.
There must have been someone at a Chili's who was playing hooky off work, and then they see on the TV like,
Huh. Yeah, I just remember watching people, because like you can always expect with any historical event, hey, what are people at Chili's thinking about this?
Mm-hmm.
And I got to see it, and now I have an idea. Oh, this is how you get like real shitheads.
Yeah.
Right? If you watch history happen in a Chili's, you're like, oh, there we go. That's how you get real bad shit.
What do you mean?
Like they were like Asheville is not. That's not the same.
Okay.
It was very much more rednecky.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And so I watched people be like, "Oh, we gonna go to war for some shit." Like it was a full like I watched like everyone turn into John McCain.
Oh,
you know
I
what I
see.
mean? Like
Yeah.
truly like
Okay.
F-16s and shit. Like they were like,
Yeah.
and I watched like Islamophobia become like
shit.
a huge. I was like,
In real time.
right, I didn't know. I hadn't gotten the module on Islam. I didn't know what that was yet, and I was like, oh, this is like whatever this is bad.
Yeah. What grade were you in?
I think I was in 4th grade.
Fourth
I think I
grade.
must have been 9 then.
Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people were just freaking the shit out,
Mhm.
and they kept doing it for years.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, some
that
would
carried
say
through the
to
Iraq
this
War.
day,
Yeah. Mhm.
people are bad
For sure.
because of that. I think
Yeah.
I watched. Yeah, gotta watch some people at Chili's brain break every time.
My memory of that was my little brother. It was his birthday. And
Yeah.
he had a party planned at Chuck E. Cheese
Right.
that evening, and nobody came.
Ooh.
And it was very hard to. He was 3, so
He's a
he
3-year-old.
just thought his friends didn't love him.
your little brother. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Go on.
Yeah. I think he was sad. I mean, he had Chuck E. Cheese to himself, but none of his friends showed up for the birthday party because thought the world was ending. So we hung out and had pizza. It was a good time.
Yeah.
I think. But
I mean, was it playing
kid.
in the Chuck E. Cheese?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like
Did they
does,
have, I thought, does Chuck E. Cheese have TVs? Or is
I
it
mean,
like a casino with no,
Well, I just
outside
am now
world
imagining.
contact?
I'm now imagining the Chuck E. Cheese guy.
Uh-huh.
You know the guy, presumably a 19-year-old,
Right.
sitting behind the counter,
The game counter.
the game counter, who's like taking kids' tickets,
Right.
and underneath the kiosk with the little popping thing and the little squishy ball is a television
Yeah.
showing the second tower being
Right.
hit. And then somebody's like, I would like one of those planes now, please. Just one of the little plastic
Yeah.
planes.
Yeah.
Going like, it's like fully having an existential crisis. Just like, I'm not going to tell you what's happening.
But they can't tell the kids.
Just can't tell the kids.
Because you want them to keep spending money.
Truly like a,
and
It's like you ever see the movie Children of Men?
No.
That's basically what I'm thinking about right now, is like a Chuck E. Cheese on 9/11.
Yeah. I'll watch it.
Welcome to the podcast, everybody.
Yeah.
I had no... do we need to do introductions?
I do that at the beginning and introduce who's on. So
okay.
But Christian Lee, Moira Goree.
Okay.
How do you pronounce your last name?
Moira Goree.
Goree. I should have been confident
like
with that. I knew
a Battlefield or
yeah.
some other stuff we've been talking about. We need to cut away
No.
from the sad stuff. What I am trying to maintain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, maintain. I'm glad Moira's here. She's a big deal. Open for
Am
Maria. Maria Bamford.
That was fun.
Open for Maria Bamford and others.
Other people.
Who else?
Many other people.
Name drop. Who else?
I have drank too much alcohol to remember. But
okay.
Shane Torres, very nice. I'm trying to think in real time. You know that thing where you forget someone's name that you know at a party? Imagine if that's your career.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So you're like, what was that guy's name? Oh, yeah, he was on those movies. Fuck!
Yeah. Well, while you think of it, Christian Lee, amazing comic, and artist, and yo-yo master. I don't know what the proper thing is for yo-yo, but you're
a yo-yo expert.
And you're from Puerto Rico. Is that right? Okay. I remember.
Yes.
Christian Lee, everyone. So, yeah, Christian and I were just going to do an interview, and Moira was here, so I was very happy that you came. You're one of my favorite comics here, too.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Christian, what's up?
Just watching the show.
No, you have to talk. You have to participate.
What about?
Well, tell us about tell us about yo-yos. I want to know about that. Because one of the first times I met you, you just had one at a mic, and you were pretty into it, and I got very excited. And, yeah. Tell us about yo-yos.
I guess there's some real ups and downs.
In the interview or the yo-yos? Yeah.
That was always
the yo-yos. The bit was
like,
about the yo-yos.
No. Yeah.
I'm trying to impress the people currently working on their laptops.
Yeah.
And doing stuff over here. Yeah, they're out of frame, presumably, but I'm only performing for them.
Yes.
I'm going to look to camera and then be like, y'all are all I care about. They're who I'm performing for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%. So yeah, yo-yos. Tell us about it, Christian.
What about them? Because I feel that I'm gonna get the line. Like, it's been half an hour. Christian, please stop.
You can go half hour on yo-yos.
I don't know. Time. Yo-yos. Okay, so they're a skill toy, like the kendama, which I mess with. But yo-yos my homeland. Where are we at? They're fun. There's 5 categories. I'm getting you into the first one of them. This butterfly yo-yo is one style, one string tricky. The old 1A.
This one.
Yeah. So
that's the one he lent me.
Yeah, funny. So it's a.
Could you yo-yo, Moira?
I may be able to yo-yo.
Continue, Christian.
It's a special interest. I sort of think of it like as a bit of a fidget while I'm waiting for the bus. That's where I do most of my playing. That one I actually got in Pittsburgh. I didn't like Toys R Us didn't really quite cut it when it came to getting yo-yos at the island. But I saw someone playing with a yo-yo in the alley, and I asked him, "How long have you been doing counterweights?" That's the 5th of the styles. And there's this look in someone's eyes when you ask a question and they realize, oh, this is also your special interest.
Right.
Like they'll flash the tattoo that they're from a secret society.
And you'll be like, dude, we're friends now.
They're like, oh, that's a cool news tattoo. Fool, it's a yo-yo. That was actually a Slipknot.
Yeah. This is all in Puerto Rico, right?
So that was in Pittsburgh. Like,
in Pittsburgh?
So once I moved there for a bit, was when I met someone who like, oh my God, you also like this. And he said, listen, we meet this day a week at this time at the second floor of this old toy store downtown, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I go there, and I'm going up the stairs, and I see all these pictures on the walls of like people who worked on Dark Knight Rises, like thanking the store for letting them like use their facilities to like change costumes and stuff.
Okay.
And then I started piecing together, oh my God, this is how they had so many bridges in Dark Knight Rises. Oh my God, did I get invited to Yo-Yo Club in Gotham? And everyone's just super nice. And it turns out one of the like final bosses of yo-yoing was there, like teaching me tricks. This dude who developed this. No, I'm sorry, I'm doing it. I'm going super.
No, I'm listening.
I am figuring out how to yo-yo in real time.
Yes.
That is. If it's coming back, that means it's tangled for sure, because it's not supposed to be responsive.
It's supposed to sleep, and then you can.
Yeah, which means I'll open it up and fix it for. Oh no, see it doesn't. No, we'll get back to this. But I like yo-yos.
So
Mhm.
so Pittsburgh.
What about
where
it?
all this is happening? You're putting these connections together about the Dark Knight and everything, and it's all hitting you. And this is.
I just like it. It's one of those things that you get to do without people being like, but how are you gonna hustle it though? We're like, can I just play with my little toy for fun? Can I just like learn this thing for fun?
Yeah.
Plus-
Nobody asks if you're gonna go pro with yo-yo. They're just
Yeah.
like, it's cool. You have a yo-yo. That's great. More things in life should be like that. You know,
Right.
Moira, did you agree?
I do
When
agree.
people say about comedy, like, where's it
Yeah.
going? What are you gonna
What are
do
you
with
gonna do?
comedy?
Yeah.
Are you gonna hang
Fuck
out
you,
with
I'm doing
fucking?
comedy.
Yeah, are you gonna hang out with fucking Conan O'Brien soon?
Probably not.
Yeah. Someone.
I don't
would
know.
if he was down.
Yeah,
But-
if I met the guy, that's
Yeah.
like with many comedians. I've gone like, oh, you're cool, and they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's the whole thing,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh,
You talking about famous ones? Like,
anybody
yeah.
doesn't have to be famous, but people
Hey.
I've met, you just end up being like, oh, you're just a human, like with Maria Bamford, right? She was
Yeah.
just mostly what happened. I have lost the plot. But basically,
Wait.
like, the idea was that, like, I was worried I'd be starstruck. And then
Uh-huh.
she was just kind of a nice lady.
Yeah.
Most
yeah.
of, like her and the Jackie Cation, who were both, I was just like, you ever, like, hang out with aunts?
Mm-hmm.
Not, you don't have to be your aunts, but just you
A-
ever hang
a-
out with
a
two
aunt.
people's aunts? And you're like, oh, you know stuff that I won't.
Yeah.
And it was really, like, sweet.
Mm-hmm. What did she tell you that
A
you
lot of
didn't know?
stuff.
Anything,
But-
any nuggets?
Well, mainly, so I was
care
at
to
the
share?
Orange Peel,
Uh-huh.
right? And it's a big venue in town. And I have performed there many a time, and I have never asked them to give me the light,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it seems to me, if I were asking, unprofessional. But she, who had been doing it for fucking ever, was like, hey, can you give me a light at this time? And they were like, what's the light? And I was like, oh, just every comic is too self-conscious to tell you, hey, I would like to know when I'm supposed to leave. And
Because
she
you
was-
thought you're just supposed to know and just do
well,
your
yeah,
time.
well,
and I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't want to fucking. It's like this.
Yeah.
If y'all don't already know, then I'm not cool enough to tell you. And she was like, no, at 45 minutes, give me the light.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay. And I was like, you can do that? Holy shit!
Yeah.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? And I was like, and then they just didn't know what it was because they're like, we have a lighting rig. They have no idea what that is. And then I was like, "Ah, thank you so much. Like after they walked out of the room, she was like, wait, you don't tell them about it? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, you could just ask for what you need.
Mm-hmm.
If you need something,
Just say something.
yeah.
Maria Bamford.
That's mostly what I figured out.
Okay.
But it's also just like, and also everyone else I've ever met.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Teaches
Yeah.
you some shit.
Yeah.
I have drank some amount of alcohol. Audience at home.
It's fine. I can't.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell.
Tip your
Ah.
service.
There it is.
But that's what I learned from that show was like, oh, also, it just keeps going. It gets bigger, but mostly you're just going like,
Comedy just keeps going.
yeah, but like if you get good, even if you're like famous or whatever, or like people know you,
Mm-hmm.
it's like still I could tell immediately as soon as we got to the thing. It's like she's going like, okay, 2 hours before I can go to my hotel and go to sleep. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's like, it's work. We're both at work right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's why I'm going to do only my time and maybe a little less.
Right.
Has way less to do with my ego. It has way more to do with like, you need sleep.
Yeah.
And I want you to, I like you, and we get to go sleep now.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Moira, how many years have you been doing comedy?
6 and something.
6 and change? What about you, Christian?
2018, when I moved to Pittsburgh, actually. That's when like, oh, finally, okay, I'm in the States. There's comedy mics. I can do this. Just like Pharaoh, like,
yeah,
like finally.
Because they didn't have as many Puerto Rico.
No, I mean, there were general mics, and and I would just sort of be like, hey, I'm not gonna do poetry. I'm gonna do jokes, but like, it's hard if you make wordplay in English, you can't really translate wordplay into Spanish, which meant that a lot of it got much more like into the storytelling and setup punchline. It's much more fluid. Although I will say that is something about just like POC comedy in general. You can't just come up there with like a silly bow tie persona and like you gotta. If your first layer isn't just you being authentic, it's not gonna go good.
Sure. POC.
Oh, people of color.
Just
like no, like because like I'm Puerto Rican, but I've noticed that like
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But also it's just like I think the authenticity just has to, in order to get it across. I feel like authenticity you just have to have, and I think people get so used to like listening to random dudes that they're like, this is acceptable. You know what I mean? I think that's more a market thing.
I feel like you also sort of gotta be like selective about like there's just hunger when you start getting like anyone wants to book me on anything.
Yeah.
That like sometimes you gotta be a little, can I actually read and do this room? Because like some places where like they just sort of shoehorn you in.
Oh boy.
It's like much more like no setup punchline, just like a little taste of comedy. They're not expecting you to just go off on him about like, hey, colonization, am I right?
Yeah.
You guys, war crimes.
Yeah.
So which is a thing that I learned like the hard way, because I did a fundraiser once and I'm like, why aren't some of these now that the openers went well, why aren't they getting weird? Oh, this is a fundraiser crowd at a comedy show, not a comedy crowd at a fundraiser. I came at them so hard out the gates.
And they were like, I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry. I donated.
Oh, God. Oh, no. You know, like as opposed to laughs, they were just kind of going like, cash. And they're like, this is enough, right? For me to feel like I didn't do that.
Haha, so you guys made the Puerto Rican flag illegal for longer than the Confederacy existed, am I right? And they're like, I'm sorry, here's $5.
Yeah.
I don't my bad.
The amount of like I was at this thing, if I'm not mistaken. This was the one that we did. Yeah.
And I'm like,
they're asking questions about a specific show.
This is a real show.
This is a real show.
I
thought you were talking hypotheticals.
No, this is no. This is a real show. No. I definitely was like, okay, I'm gonna go on soon. I can see.
Was this a fundraiser for something?
This is a fundraiser. This is a fundraiser.
For what?
It was after like a hurricane had hit, and it's one of those like, hey, let's just give the money to a local organization. And I'm like, oh, I've been there when this has happened before. Put me in, coach.
And this is in Puerto Rico?
And no, well, like we did it here, but it was to just send some funds abroad. It was like a nice little show.
Cool.
And yeah, so I opened, and then a comic that did well, who I'm like, oh, they have their like corporate cassette tape ready for this kind of thing. Right. I hadn't considered having that sort of.
Because a fucking fundraiser crowd is looking for, and I listen, if you go to fundraisers, fine.
Yeah.
But a fundraising crowd, generally speaking, is, hi, welcome to this. We're going to have a good time. I just wanted to thank you all so much for coming out. And we're going to get this done. Am I right, people? Like that's what you're looking at. Like that. Have some. Hello, we've got a stand-up comic. It's a sad evening, but so that is like. They want to have like some coaxing.
Yeah,
that they. You know what I mean? You don't want to do this. You want to do
about
like
dogs and
yeah,
you
jokes,
can talk
dogs,
about something.
airplanes.
I just think that like it's sort of like one of those like, oh, the implication of us all being here in the first place is we're on the same side.
Yeah.
We don't have to fight. We're here because we agree on that. Now,
right.
let's go on a journey. So there I was, and you start cursing.
right, yeah. So there I was, and you were you bastards, and it's like no.
So what happened with the show? Did they pull back and?
It went well. Actually,
it went good.
It went good.
Yeah, it went good. I went up at the end because like someone asked a question at the end because Moira was headlining. Thank you so much. And Moira was like, "Well, actually, I'm going to defer to the expert." And I'm just like with the lore dump in the back, like, we're gonna wrap this up with like a little Q&A because people are. But it was we had a lot of people who donated things to raffle off, and they just happened to go to the exact people that would have enjoyed them. Like we had someone who donated a tattoo, and they were like the only two punk kids who came to the show, and they won it, and I'm like, God. It would have been cool if you didn't send the hurricane, but this is all right as well.
Yeah.
I really as far as headlining shows about other, you know what I mean? I don't as a rule want to like headline the Black Lives Matter fundraiser.
You don't want to do causes?
I don't no, it's I would happily donate and try to be, but I'm not going to be like, so you know whose opinion about this is most important?
Yeah, it's okay.
Me, a white trans woman.
I'm
so let's talk about let me talk about trans people, white trans people for a second. You know, I center myself really way too hard. You do you.
No, sorry, I shifted to listening mode. No, it's a weird feeling, and it's particularly in such a like, it's a diverse town by American standards, but it's small enough that it's one of those. Okay, well, I'm the only person in this community, and I'm hosting. So now that people that I'm gonna now that pool is over, and you're getting other people to help, it's like a work visa. Of like, I give you the Taino pass, I do a little cross on you or something, I do the little, you are now albino coqui, go get it.
The idea was, and I did it, and you saw it, was like, people are, I'm going to get into it, and then people are going to be like, so what's up about this one thing? And I'll be like, Christian, help! Christian, I don't know. Or this is way out of my lane, so I'm just gonna be like,
you don't have to do Q&A, do you? I mean,
but I'm gonna be like, I basically was like talking about some of the history that creates the shit situation, and then people are like, can you elaborate on that? And I'm like,
the hurricane?
No, the political history about colonization.
Oh,
shit,
you
right?
went off.
Well, yeah, and I'm talking about it a little bit, and then people are like, how about this thing? And I'm like, I can't answer that.
Side note, people always hit me with the anxious ally groupie things, like, oh, you're from where? Oh, I believe you should have statehood. And I'm like, a little strong, first of all. Secondly, I don't know what they are telling you guys. What about instead of marrying your country, you just let us go? Because clearly we're in this weird not either like. Do they tell you guys we have Wi-Fi? Because like we do. I don't know.
Do you want independence for Puerto Rico?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Every time I get angry, every time I think about the states, I just listen to Run to the Hills, and I'm like, yeah, a white man did come across the sea, brought us pain and misery.
Yeah,
that's why we literally have a bronze statue of Taínos like drowning the Spaniard called Salcedo. Like, so like a town over from us, this place called Añasco. Oh, buckle up.
Here we go.
The nickname for this town, Añasco, is El pueblo donde los dioses murieron, which means the town where the gods died.
Yes. Because
a legend goes legend goes is the way of saying allegedly. We're not saying anyone murdered anyone. like that whole the Spaniards came with their armor and ships. Are they gods? Let's find out. They myth-busted the whole thing and drowned the Spaniard. I guess they can die. We're going to war, baby.
Divine. They drowned the Spaniards.
Yeah, and there's a bronze statue in the plaza next to the coffee shop.
If you're ever wondering, if anybody's like, "Hey, I'm a deity," I don't know, give him a good drowning.
Let's find out.
yeah, just no longer and harder.
Yeah.
It's like I'm a deity, and it's like
it either works or it doesn't. Let's go for lunch.
If you can survive that, then maybe we'll talk about it, and let's see what drinks you can make water into after this. Like if you're drowning somebody and it all turns into wine, you're like.
Also, how savage could we have been if
you killed
Jesus.
him?
And then I'm like, hey.
No, that's
you keep going. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm good.
Wait, but there's a statue of this of drowning Spaniards.
I'm sorry, I interrupted the interruption. You guys can go ahead.
No.
You go.
So there's a statue, like a bronze, like the Chad Taínos with the bull. I don't know. I wasn't there when it happened, so I don't know what. By the way, what is it? Side note, why is it whenever they can decide they don't know how we were because we got super erased? It's always just like the cone and jock strap and a bowl cut. I don't love that personally because then anyway. There's a bronze statue and they're like drowning him, but it's like next to the coffee shop at the town plaza where kids play and there's family events, and I'm like, good. Good. Never forget what they took from us, kids. They said that our rivers had so much gold they look golden. We have a town called Dorado. Maybe that is where, Borican forever. I'm sorry. I just it starts with a joke and then I'm like,
you start looking at me and I'm like, I don't have a bit for that.
We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
No, but it's
this is brought to you by Blue Apron. Blue Apron.
I'm drowning colonizers.
I'm happy to.
I wonder if Blue Apron's like, fuck yeah.
So how old were you when you came to the States?
I guess so. Not to hit you a question with a question, but like first time or like okay, we're here.
Here.
First time was 2018. It was after the hurricane. We had like a little, okay, listen, we're going to have a little exchange program to like a sister campus of like Penn State. It's going to be in Pittsburgh. It's like a real, we want to get you guys out of here into a place that like has electricity, where you don't have to haggle with FEMA basically.
Yeah.
And yeah, which is where I could finally like, oh, I can take the bus and do stand-up. Oh, wow, that's incredible. Mm-hmm. So 2018, went back to graduate 2019, and then...
Graduate from where?
University of Puerto Rico.
University of Puerto Rico.
Mayagüez, which one of our acronyms, by the way, is RUM, which I think is hilarious. And they know what we're doing. We drink at 18 in college. Once the first year, you literally walk across the street. Here we go. It's brewing over here. But man,
I like
$50 shot for $3. I would get late to a hangout and put $3 on the counter and be like, give me 6 shots of 151 because I gotta catch up and I'm double Hispanic, so I got a fucking +5 on Constitution saves. Am I right? And there's this thing I love with a bartender when you ask for an order like that, where they go from like, for you and the gang, and then I'm like, oh, and a glass of water, and then they're like, they realize. Oh, this is for you? All I can do is provide. And they're giving you that look of like, don't throw up on my counter. You know,
the look of someone watching somebody fall backwards off of a high thing. Just like, good luck.
Yeah. That's good, though.
Yeah, but it's cool. It means we didn't have to be like cloak and dagger about drinking like you do in
Is the drinking
States.
age in Puerto Rico younger than the States?
It's 18, which means that if you're in high school sort of drinking, like you sort of like get your bear. Not that you should, but
better.
like once you're in college and you're an adult, you actually get to be more open, which means people can just like hold their like, actually instead of being cloaky, just sort of be like, what does this do for me? Yeah. Where's my check? What do I like? And from 1 to 10, where do I want to be? Because by the way, whether you drink or smoke anything, you're not a master if you can do like 20 tons of it. You're a master when you can tell where you're at from 1 to 10 and where you want to be and how you can glide, how you can pilot that, you know?
As opposed to in the States, 18 to 21.
It's water sobriety.
Is truly like, this is dangerous. How much of it can I get in me?
Yeah.
For free.
It's forbidden.
Right, and
it's bad.
I learned social engineering.
Forbidden in the country that takes everything.
Pathetic. No, yeah, it's literally like I could like figure out a way to get into the right porch. So like there was a place in town where like there's the stairs up and then they check your ID and instead of doing that you can like climb out onto the porch and it's like now like 20 feet down. Like if you go from the stairs onto the porch, climb over that and then just sit there and then like start having a good time with people and they're like, hey, you want a drink? And I'm like, hell yeah, I'll have a gin and tonic. And then like I would just see how much alcohol I could scam people out of to the point that I am not okay because I've made a bad game for myself. Yeah. And I'm like 20.
Yeah.
I'm like
over the edge.
Yeah, just truly just like, this is the game. The game is to see how much free shit I can get. And that's like, that is a reason I think the drinking age is a bad idea.
It is.
So drinking age is yes, and okay. So I'm gonna give you the flip side of this: being of age but being colonized. Because when I moved here, I was 22, right? So it's one of those underage drinking. Oh, I'm 22, whatever. So I went to perform, and they asked for an ID as they do, and because I was still like new here, I didn't have like the local driving license, but I get to travel with mine because it's I'm a citizen. And them hitting me with I'm sorry, I can't take this ID. Do you have an American ID? And I'm like, ma'am, I'm about to go up. Is this the route that we're taking?
That's bullshit.
You gotta.
Dude, Puerto Rico's just getting fucked. What the hell?
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
Like I'm realizing it. You guys are like, yeah,
we are.
Well, it's really
sorry.
you just become friends with somebody and you read some Wikipedia pages and you're like, God damn.
They my ignorance.
Oh no, okay. So like we have. This is. I'm sorry. I just like immediately think of like when you're like this is a fun fact and you're like that's a war crime. I don't know if they need to hear it, but I don't know if they want to hear it.
I want the fun fact.
So one of our like. I guess similar. The thing I'll equate it to, and I'm not saying it's 1-to-1 or that it's not, but like an important like political figure for us. Marie Muñoz, if I'm not mistaken. No. Wait, no. Oh, I'm mixing names. Bleep that because I'm getting two names mixed up. But
edit that in.
The thing is that like this person who was like I'm talking like went to Harvard, Puerto Rican who went and was like really advocating for like was still a problematique, so it would get canceled today, and I agree with it. But what did the FBI do in the face of someone being like, I think we should stand up for ourselves actually as a people? And they didn't just shoot him like they did in the States with like every other leader. No. There's pictures. The FBI.
You can't say this person's name, right?
No, I'm
We're bleeping that.
I don't want. I'm blanking. No, we can't. I'm just blanking on camera because I gotta check which of the two names it is, and I don't want to like butcher. But the thing is,
appreciate attention to detail.
The FBI just sort of, or CIA, one of those, the people who give out the like journalist award of death, they radiation tortured him to death.
Good fucking gosh.
Like it sounds like haha, that's a hard sell as fiction.
Fucking
oh,
shit.
they did that?
Fuck, dude.
Yeah, and that's without mentioning how they also experimented on sterilization on all the Puerto Rican women that are alive today. No.
When did this take place? 60s, 70s?
It's in the. I'll tell you this: when I heard about it in college and we watched interviews, they were in color.
Let me say, for us, right?
Yeah.
If you're asking when something was, a lot sooner than you'd want it to be. You're like a lot shorter of a time ago than it like, hey, white people.
Yeah.
Hey, white people. Can we talk?
Historically, this was last week.
Historically speaking, that shit that you're like, wow, that was a long time ago, was not. Was super really. Not a long time ago, and we don't know. that ain't it. So it's like a
Yeah.
shorter time ago than you want it to be.
Every single like month that has like an activist
Pre-COVID.
theme is like, can we stop fighting about including this in American history? You can't just pick like the hits and then just roll with that.
And the reason is because we're like, that happened in the 1800s. Nah, dude, that happened in the 80s, probably.
Yeah, you know what? My grandpa was there. Let me go get him.
So do you like America? Christian, was that a bad question?
I love America. I just hit my head on the door. I'm so clumsy.
Do you like America?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like it. That's all I know, though. I've never lived in another country.
I think we should both try it.
Yeah, I think
You know
we
what
probably
I'm
should.
saying?
Have you ever lived in another country, Moira?
Nah.
No.
I'm just an Appalachian person. So
Born
like
and raised here?
yeah.
Okay.
So there's like there's a weird thing of like this nation is bad.
Mm-hmm.
That like comes inbuilt, I think, if you're from here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like one of those things that the way that gets expressed 90% of the time if you don't read history is like a guy waving a Confederate flag.
Mm-hmm.
But then the other way it gets expressed is like, we're just gonna go down in the holler and wait till America stops being a thing.
Yeah.
Take enough genetic diversity with you into the
They're
holler.
going into the vault. They're just doing
Yeah,
the, like-
truly, like most hollers are just like people like, we're gonna wait it out and hope that people don't remember us in the census. Yeah. It's just like, I think it's just inbuilt. I think it's just like,
By the way,
Yeah.
side note, it's such. We were talking about this just a little bit before you arrived. It's such nonsense how many like vampires are like, I'm a metaphor for disenfranchised Americans. When did I get turned? When I was fighting for the Confederacy, and then the theme song plays. Like, that's where did that trope come from?
I don't know either. I think it's like one of those weird things that's like the 80s probably also. A lot of bad stuff. I think Ronald Reagan really did a number on us.
Yeah. Not fans of Reagan. No.
Yeah.
No.
Do you like Ronald Reagan?
I came from a conservative upbringing. So
They liked Ronald Reagan.
Yes, absolutely.
Have you checked
I thought
in
he was-
on it?
Have I checked in on it?
Have you
I don't want
checked
to
in?
talk politics on the show.
Oh, come on. No. No, I mean,
You
have
want
you
to?
read Wikipedia about, like, what happened with that whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, I know what he said.
Do you know,
About
like, the...
his spiel about limited government and
okay, that's
lower
his
taxes.
thing. That's his thing, right?
Yeah, and personal liberty and things like that is what he talked about. But I'm going to assume you take a lot of issue with the
With
overall
Well, no, it's not. He's said a lot
trickle
of
down economics.
stuff.
Not a fan, and all of the whole.
Well, now we got to talk about
Yeah, the
where
branding
that
on
comes
that was
from.
insane.
I imagine there's the 5 people who are like, wow, this got really intense,
I don't-
really
it doesn't
fast.
have to. It doesn't have to.
No.
I'm not
It's
married to any of these ideas, but
No, the thing with that whole thing, right? So he was an actor, right?
Yeah, Hollywood.
It was a
actor.
long time.
Yeah.
Do you know where he got a lot of that from?
No.
Do you ever hear about the Red Scare?
Yeah, the
The
communism.
communism.
Yeah.
So he was kind of a real shithead proponent of a lot of like locking up people in his milieu at the time, right? And then he kind of like went down this weird
locking up other Hollywood celebrities
Yeah,
that were
well,
communist
writers,
By the way,
Yeah,
side note on
yeah.
that, because I found the name right. Pedro Albizu Campos. That's who got radiation poisoned. I got 2 names mixed up. Anyway, but go on.
But
Just
so
had to like do
Back
like
to
real
Reagan.
fact check.
so Reagan, that's kind of like how he got on the like whacked out Christian conservative situation that he was on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he ends up being kind of like the weird tip of the spear of like the worst parts of what was set up by Nixon,
Okay.
which was like the Southern strategy and getting like fundamentalist Christians to back policies from the pulpit, right?
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So basically that has often, because I mean, and you can understand that, right? Like
Yeah.
like that Christianity uses the pulpit as an extra political tool to enforce
mobilize
political
voters.
policy,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we kind of got a lot of the stuff that we're dealing with right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Cashing out and then hot potatoing the consequences.
Right, because really what it ends up being is just what makes money. You know what I mean? And so doing some real crazy Iran-Contra selling weapons and drugs.
Yeah.
Well, that made
was a
money.
little bit- yeah.
Didn't it?
Yeah.
And it's and then if somebody's not going to be like, well, what would Jesus think? No, because they've already got that on lock.
Right.
Then
That's
they can kind of
assumed.
do some
So his-
crazy shit.
So
Because
his
this
morality's
guy,
unquestioned.
because he's
you
a
g-
Jesus guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So
I could
think
see
about
that.
how much power you can accrue if the people just assume you're right with God because you look like Santa on a
Right.
Coca-Cola can.
Yeah.
Right?
This is very,
So
this
that's
is illuminating. Yeah.
That's basically the deal with Ronald Reagan.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could go into specific shit, but we'll not right now. You
Yeah.
can wiki it later.
Yeah.
And sort of get in it.
I
get
know
in
on the
there.
right, people view him very fondly as an authentic
Ooh,
human.
boy.
As an authentic human.
But even then, the funny thing is that he would have supported shit that they're nah.
Like what?
Fucking social programs that he was still into.
Yeah.
That it's well, that's just fine. He doesn't
Yeah.
he
War on
pretended
drugs. Not a fan
that kind of
that.
shit. He's he set a tone that then all these crazy far right shitheads are real into.
Yeah.
But even he would have probably been God damn, y'all are. I think this is
Pushing
getting a
this a
little
little too
fascist
far.
for my taste.
Yeah.
Which is wild to think that his ghost is God, this is getting a little wild. Did I do this? Yeah, man.
Mm. Yeah. And he was charismatic and a good speaker.
Yeah.
That doesn't always come along on the Republic. There's a lot of nerds. Actually, in politics in general.
Yeah, I mean the crazy
So-
thing is how he was an actor.
Yeah.
And then Donald Trump is a infomercial guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
we gotta get a TV guy who's a real nut job on this one.
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
fix our shit. But
the marketing is on point because I saw a documentary and I was kind of surprised by how people get swayed
Yeah.
from one side, from one side to the other completely with one charismatic speech.
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
And
It's
it's
emotional when people vote versus.
Yeah, but hearing it, I'm how much does he crush at those? Because the explanation was no, we used to be Democrats, but we registered for Republicans now to vote for God Emperor because we need money and he has money, so he know how to make money happen. And I'm what? Do you?
Yeah.
He's not gonna be just
Handing
Oprahing out the spoils of war.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and if you were raised in a place where you're oh, that makes sense, got it. And then there's plenty of places.
You know what we got? He did the 3-pointer with the bounty roll.
That was nuts.
I got to
That
the
thing
States
had
and people
the
were
Trump-
talking
yeah,
about that
Trump
one.
was Trump was here's really here's some toilet
Did
paper.
you guys think that was funny?
I thought that was insane.
Insane.
I thought
I
the
thought
whole
it was kind of funny. I mean, I don't know.
the whole Trump administration was
Who you
things
voting
that things that don't make good jokes,
We're
but that
talking-
seem like they would
We're talking about Donald Trump right now
on the podcast.
on the podcast. Alex,
Man,
want to say
of
hi?
all times for someone to
See them there.
Yeah. Hello.
Wait, what are you talking about?
How the entire Trump administration was sort of things that seemed like they would make good jokes, but really just made everyone sad.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked up. Kobeing hurricane
Yeah.
supplies.
Yeah.
Although I will say we did have a lot of MREs via helicopter, so in a way, it sort of came full circle.
What's an MRE?
It's the government issued Lunchables they give
Meals
you in the
ready.
military.
It's
I'm
Lunchables
stupid.
that
I'm
are
learning
bad.
so
Also,
much
we
on
can't
this.
hear you in the microphone. I will say thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's military Lunchables is MREs.
Okay. Hmm.
How's that doing?
How do you feel about next year?
What?
Well, there's an election next year.
Oh boy.
How do you feel?
I mean, it's not gonna go.
Do you guys expect chaos to ensue?
I hope they don't ruin another
Like
holiday.
another.
I don't.
You know how in every election year it's just
Oh yeah.
like
It's gonna be that.
I was hoping everybody would chill a little
No.
this time.
Oh,
I was
you-
know,
yeah, good
don't
luck.
Don't you think? Like we've been through enough, like COVID and
Yeah.
all the insanity.
Yeah.
I was hoping
but
they'd try to
so think
stir us up,
so
but we
think
wouldn't
here's
respond.
the thing. Billionaires, right? People
Right.
with a lot of money lost money. Like a lot of money. Right? So now they've got to make it back somehow. So they're going to spend a lot of money to fuck with you.
Right. But I guess what I'm hoping is the mechanisms that they've used before won't have the same effect.
They'll come up with new mechanisms. They got a lot of money to spend.
Yeah, it's true.
So just people listen, I get the hope. I get hope.
I want to be hopeful.
I do. But when it comes to politics, it'll just hit you right in the dick
Yeah.
if you do it. You gotta be like, shit's gonna get worse,
Yeah.
America and the rest of the world.
You ever seen Cable Guy?
No. What is that? You mean
It's a
Larry?
Jim Carrey movie. Cable Guy
Larry?
from the 90s.
The Cable
no,
Guy?
not Larry the Cable Guy.
I've
Cable
seen
Guy
that.
with Jim Carrey.
I don't know this movie.
Well, then I don't know. I was gonna describe. Have you seen Cable Guy? Christian, put the mic down. Christian, pick the mic.
I've seen it on.
You want to listen to Moira?
I've seen it on the shelves of Blockbuster. Shout out. That's it. I know he's supposed to be a spooky guy who makes Grinch faces, but
There was kind of a commentary in there about people being obsessed with their TVs and
as
how it
opposed to
was
Truman Show.
Truman Show. Yeah, similar, but
Where we are TV.
and at the end, he like sacrifices himself and falls on the TV antenna, and everybody's cable goes out, and then people stop watching the TV and the trial that everybody's fixated on, and then they pick up a book and become more
Literate.
present
and
and
stuff.
literate and like better people. So I was
Yeah.
hoping the end of Cable Guy would happen, kind of where like we're not
I mean,
on
I
our
think
phones.
I think it will, but also,
When do you think that'll happen? When,
it
out of this-
is happening
yeah.
to like some people.
Yeah.
This is the thing. It's not. A lot of the shit that you're talking, like if like a futuristic movie, is just happening to billionaires, right?
Like they've already done it.
Like Jeff Bezos is walking and being like, "I am horny," and then there's like a sex robot or whatever. You know what I
Right,
mean?
Right.
That's the futuristic movies are happening to billionaires. People who are like able to do the thing where they put their phone down have already done so. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So all of the movies are happening
Mm-hmm.
already.
Right.
The world's already over for some people.
What do you mean by that? The world's already over. Like they've reached a
I mean, if you think
Like a
about
billionaire you're
okay,
talking?
so like Mad Max, right?
yes.
Okay.
Love that movie.
What happens in Mad Max? Bad shit happens. The
Mhm.
world, everyone dies. And then the people who are left over are using weird technology that's the leftovers of what they had before
Mhm.
to like do shit to whatever it takes to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I want you to transpose that onto like Christopher Columbus showing up,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So like the people who got fucked over by that situation are in the Mad Max movie of, you see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like all of these crazy, like the world ended for that, you know what I mean? And it's like the Mad Max movie situation.
Right. So the indigenous people are like
in
living
the
in
fucking Mad
post-apocalyptic
Max movie.
whatever.
Yeah,
getting
like
fucked.
the traditional like dude. You go to a gas station and there's like an indigenous person on a horse.
Mhm.
They didn't really have that many horses pre-colonization.
Right.
So that's the equivalent of like the Fury Road with the oil rig with the
Yeah.
fucking like Gatling gun on it. Like, you know what I mean?
So do you think we're kind of living in a post-apocalyptic world right now? Like, what would be the who would be the Mad Max characters in today?
I mean, everybody who is it, you and I are the thing that fucked up other people's. We're what blew up the world for most people.
Okay. I feel bad.
We're the
Should we
nukes.
we're the. Okay.
This is a comedy podcast. It's bad. This is an honest thing. Is like those movies. We didn't get them from nowhere.
Right.
They
The themes
happened.
play out. Over and
History
over.
rhymes, right?
Mhm.
But also, there's nothing new. We've already like thought of all this shit.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna put the mic down because
Really?
I've talked too much.
No. Are you done?
No. I'll come back in later. But
Okay.
yeah, these are my rants.
Yeah. What makes y'all hopeful about the future? Christian, she put the mic. You have to say something.
Yeah, he brought it way down.
What makes you hopeful about the future, Christian?
All you rude Americans will just perish one day. And that's nothing lasts forever. Not even colonization. No.
Oh no.
Hope. I don't know. What gives me hope? How come I get skipped with? This is a hardball question. What gives me hope? What gives you hope?
Talking to y'all, meeting new people, a joke working. It's about all I care about now.
I mean,
Is time
Yeah.
with good people.
you don't know what gives me hope.
What?
Shit changes. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So even if it's bad, it'll be different.
Oh, that's it? Okay. I thought there was more. Okay.
No, that's it. That's the main thing.
Yeah. Yeah, stuff does change.
I don't know how we got so dark, but what's the title of this podcast?
I did this instead of killing myself. Is the name.
Got it.
Yeah.
So that sounds like a closing question. I don't know if you meant to wrap it up.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Although we're almost at an hour, so it's not terrible.
Um,
We can go a little longer. But did you have an answer to the hope question? Because I have one more for the.
I had an answer a while back for something else, and now I'm just sort of like rebooting. Like, hope. Okay, different page.
Sorry, I didn't mean to be interrupting.
Oh no,
you
you're
either,
good. No,
Christian.
that's okay. I know I have to be patient here because people just sort of bark over each other, and I don't mean y'all specifically, or just it's just part of like learning English from afar versus learning it like. You play a game and everyone goes one after the other talking, but here it's when you get into a conversation, people just like just and if you can't get your message out in 3 words, you're getting skipped, and that's a weird like party dynamic in America. But so I've learned to just like I can just sort of hang out. So then someone will like sort of interject, so I'll shift to listening instead. And then they'll be like, "Oh, you're so dramatic," because I'm not. Hello.
Hey, Julia.
I'm sorry. Now I'm bringing it down.
No.
Have no hope in a liberating way. Don't
Okay.
hope for anything, and I don't mean it in a be a lethargic way, or in a cartoonish no consequences way. I don't know. Hope is a very passive quality. Like, I've met so many people that are like, bro, happiness is a choice. And I'm like, yeah, my partner's cancer was a choice, I'm sure. So it's one of those, like, hope, sure, but, like, let that hope catch you working hard. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not on a grind set. Screw that. But, I don't know. Out of spite, I think I'm just clawing my way out into, like, put it like, okay, so like that's like to sort of bring it around with the yo-yo. Like I'm a clumsy person historically. Like when I visit my friends and we have wine, they'll give me a 360 sippy cup, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I still manage to yo-yo because it's a skill, which means it can be learned. People like saying things that like just like hope, like talent. No, that's sort of like, did you win the roll of the dice? You can learn any skill, but it's hard. It's hard. Anyone can make art. It's just hard to learn a skill. But it's fun to do things. So I guess I don't have hope. I have fun. I try to just have fun with things. Because
There's the hope.
When you play, you get to just sort of unfold like you're undoing a piece of origami. No, I love origami. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Have fun, but put effort into it. You know,
For
it's
sure.
cool. It's cool to put intention into things. Where did the 80s like bully trope of look at this loser trying? Where did that come from? Did big execs do that so that we didn't rise against? I think that's a band.
I think that would be what I'm hopeful about, is that more people just have fun doing shit that they like.
Yeah, I didn't have hopes for today, but I'm like, oh, David reached out to do this. This is going to be fun. I get to look forward to just messing around.
Yeah.
Respectfully.
Exactly. Hey, James.
Sign us up. Okay, we're here. We got it on camera that we were here, so we're on the list.
Yeah. Yeah, we're good. Y'all mentioned authenticity earlier. I was going to ask you both how long it took you to be authentic on stage, or if it was pretty immediate for you both, or
I guess that I achieved a level of authenticity after a while, because I realized I didn't really care enough to it was one of those things where I was kind of bad at comedy for a while, and I went it's like the yo-yo then. You know what I mean? If it's I'm not doing anything with this. I was playing music mostly at the time, and I was like, this is just a thing I like to do.
mm-hmm.
And then that felt authentic. And then I actually kind of lost it when I started getting on shows. And I was like, oh, people are like, this should be your career or whatever. And then I was like, I hate this.
Yeah.
And then I stopped giving a shit about that. And I kind of do it anyway. And so it's a weird push-pull thing. I think you can gain and lose authenticity as you go along. Because you're you start to buy your own bullshit too much.
Yeah.
And then you'll lose it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll go, well, I beefed that really hard. And then you'll gain it back because you don't care anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's weird because
Yeah.
you just kind of have to, it's that push-pull thing.
Do you feel the longer you do it, the more you can be aware of that slipping in and out of...
Right, and know just to shut the fuck up.
And shut down the part that gives a fuck?
Yeah, or shut down the part that wants to please
others,
people, yeah. And just kind of what's coming out is, and I need to shape that,
mm-hmm.
and make that something that is enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't go, no, I remember I was doing Charlotte Comedy Zone or something, and the guy was like, why do you gotta talk about the trans stuff so much? And I was like, oh, this is what it's like to truly not give a shit about what somebody thinks. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't care. And then that guy started talking to me, and I was like,
he doesn't give a fuck what you think.
He doesn't care what I think. And I've truly experienced the depths of, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I don't care. And that there are people like that gives me hope. to go
what a spin on that.
Yeah, I'm oh, okay. There's a lot of people who I don't give a fuck at all what they think.
Uh-huh.
And some people I do, and I want them to be happy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They give you perspective.
Uh-huh.
Dumbasses give you perspective.
Yeah. Puts the mic. I like how y'all put the mic down.
And then
Christian, authenticity on stage.
Authenticity.
What is what is your...
As you've maybe noticed tonight, since talking with people in general is already kind of difficult, imagine that translated to reading a room. Granted, stand-up's the one time I get to finish a thought, right? Like, I'm holding the talking stick. But it's weird because, like, I write. So, like, I'm the opposite of, like, an improv person. Like, they're magicians to me because, like, I write my stuff, but then being comfortable on stage is a difficult part. Because, like, you can tell... I used to just sort of, if I'm trying some weird stuff out and it doesn't go well, I'll just go into like the cabinet and be like, let's just play the hits because those are done and I can just autopilot that. But I've noticed it not working, and then I just pivot into, screw it, I'm going to do weird stuff for me. And the reaction just sort of cued me in on, oh, you can tell when I don't want to really do the thing versus when I'm there. And that's one of the harder things because, like, I thought it would just be... writing the thing and performing, but reading a room, knowing when you have to, like, make a turn. So I'm grateful for all of the weird or bad rooms because they're all like, you've never been in like all senses of the word. You haven't been here before. What does it mean? How's your ability just to scope out where you're at and match the level? So since it's kind of difficult for me to, like, pilot the body and expressions and stuff in general, I'm just more aware of it on stage. So it just sort of comes back to the element of I should trust myself to play. I did my homework. I wrote the jokes. If I can just play and get comfortable, I'll be myself. They'll pick up on the energy, but it's, I'll be honest, it's still not a thing that I can just, like, out of, like towards the end of a Power Ranger seasons, they don't even dance, they just sort of, like, boop, and just burst into armor. I'm not I still have to do the whole, like, 30-second cutscene and the CGI, and then I'm in the spandex.
No, I love that.
But, authenticity, I will say this. I appreciate that stand-up is one of the mediums you can't do a cover of anything. You can only come as yourself. And I love good jokes, but I love that bad jokes also let me know when I'm just sort of, like, turning in. Like, I'll get a C. That's fine. And I'm like, I don't want to get a C anymore. I want to, you know what? Here's a hard experience. Have I been able to, like, diffuse the bomb and actually do a joke about this that provides insight with a chuckle of, I didn't consider that. So that's sort of the north in that authenticity part, but that's like the that's sort of like the high level fights of, do you have the skill to share? It's an authentic story, but do you have the skill to tell it?
Yeah, I think that's a hard thing of, like, there are a lot of stories that I'm still like, that's not ready yet. And I don't even always think it's about skill as much as distance. Like, I truly, like, there are stories that, like, I would love to make a bit out of, but like, I gotta get farther away from that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it shows when you just sort of pull it out of the pocket, like, you're still digesting it. You haven't come out the other side.
Right. And like, that can be an authentic story, and but it's like getting from the moth to the stand-up bit is hard. Like, I'd say, here's the story. Here's, like, oh, wow, that was a wild thing. And, like, it's like there's the drama part that needs to cook before it can be comedy.
Before you can observe it and
actually feel
and
how you
form it.
Yeah, because there's a difference between who you were at the time and who you are capable of seeing yourself as at the time. Right, because you're always looking at it through the lens that you view yourself. And, like, at a certain point, that cooks enough that you're like, I can let that go and look at it authentically.
Yeah, because if you talk about something really emotionally raw or something that you just want to get out, you could come across as unhinged if you're not through it all the way.
Yeah, and what? So, oh man,
I've done that. I mean,
yes, and
Mm-hmm.
I had this problem a lot, like when I was trying to like do like some of my grief material, because like it's sort of like how it's so. How do I say? You know how like there's self-pejorative humor, self-deprecating humor that works and that doesn't. Like it doesn't work if you're getting on stage and being I'm a big ugly dum dum, like you're just saying bad things. But if you paint a portrait and then the portrait triggers a feeling, you know, like when you just like give you know what I mean?
It's like show don't tell.
Yeah, show. There it is. So it's sort of a situation with that. Well, like, where's the line between, you know, joke and trauma dumping? I had a thought and I was just sort of like jumping for it, but the elevator kept going up.
Yeah, I feel like the audience is more comfortable if it seems like you've overcome whatever it is. You're on the other side of it, observing it.
I mean, I don't even think that like it has to be that you're trying to make them comfortable.
Oh,
but
sorry. No, now I remember. Right. Sorry. People, there we go. It's people.
I'm gonna interrupt 7 more times. I can get interrupted.
I'm gonna. So then people can tell like the difference between like, hey, here's a weird thing of this really tough experience that like a little you know, it sort of snaps you back to reality, having to deal with awkward things. There's that, and then there's just the kind of like you haven't processed the humor where all you do is go, haha, this is dumb, isn't it? Death and going through hard stuff, everything's dumb, am I right? And it's like, oh, that's you just coming at it with a sarcastic, mean spirit. You're not actually.
And we can all feel that you are going to need to cry about this in a year. You know what I mean? When you come to a point about it, you're going to cry.
Someone give them
and
the
then
light
you're
and a hug.
actually going to laugh about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You haven't reached the point. You haven't cried enough about it.
So that person would be better off waiting a year and then having the bit formed.
Or even like do it, but don't lean on it.
Right.
Right? Do it. Go, why? Why isn't this working? Where does it still hurt me?
Which is difficult to get into with short sets, because so much is easing people not just into you and the vibe, but if you're getting into a topic like that, you need the time to sort of glide into a little bit and then come out, versus, all right, I'm going to do 30 seconds of death and stuff in the middle, and then we're going to get back into bathroom humor of like,
that bathroom humor you're gonna get back into is gonna be fucking hard. It's gonna be a hard time you're gonna have.
Hard sell on that.
Hard sell of like, dicks. You know, it's like after you've been talking about grief.
Haha, my family's weird. So the priest tried to upsell me on an urn. What's the deal with toilet paper?
Yeah, it's a hard time.
Oh God. Okay.
No,
y'all.
Yeah, no, but it's cool. We actually have a saying, reír para no llorar, which means laugh to not cry. And I feel that sort of sentiment translates a lot into, and not in the sense of avoiding it, laughing in the sense of like, we're getting some release, but we are sort of still crying in, you know what I mean? Where you can laugh because you're just like, oh man, it's kind of weird that we sort of go through this and sort of act awkward about it. We just sort of.
I mean, I think things that like trauma makes shit funny.
It does, but here's the weight of making those jokes for a crowd that hasn't gone through it is, if you've gone through it, you've already done the digesting. If you're just bringing it up to someone, you have to coddle them from just finding out and the awkwardness of how delicate they should be with you until you're like, believe me, it's fine. That's why I'm fine with talking about it. You're the one who's
and at its best, that's going to be 3 jokes, right? That's like, I'm just introducing the idea. No, I know. Right? That's going to be that joke. Yeah. The second joke is like, here's how I processed that. the third one is, and now the thing I actually wanted to say.
Shout
You
out
know
to
what
the
I
people
mean?
who close with the death joke before I go up. I'm like, thanks for just alley-ooping me that one. 'Cause
Yeah.
Broke them in for you. Well, that's all great. Christian, do you want to talk about your art? You're a fantastic artist.
I'm all right. Thanks. What about it?
Well, you can find all of it at Pixelate. What's your name?
For work. Yeah. That or if
Pixelate
you look
for work.
Christianly, should show you. That's a little pun, like pixels, but like
Yeah.
for work. But I'm not. I'm actually, man, it's been such a long day. I woke up, I just busted a studio, and I'm just like drawing, like working, coloring this comic all day. I'm just like, it looks like I'm hacking my art because I'm like with 2 screens and then the little like keypad with all the shortcuts taped on it, so I know. And then I gotta go to comedy, but I also gotta go to I gotta get a little early to the podcast. And then I got here, I'm like, all I've had is coffee. But they have the best loaded fries here. So
At the Odd. Shout out the Odd.
Shout
Tuesdays
out.
at 9. Yeah.
They are.
it's I'm a
Yeah.
comic who draws comics, and just working on some stuff, juggling a few
Yeah.
plates, I'm finishing a one-off that I'm
Plays?
a few what?
Would you say plays?
I don't know what did I
Plates.
say. Plates? yeah,
Juggling
plates.
a few plates.
A few plates.
Plates.
Balancing is that you
I
juggle
see.
balls and you
I'm
balance
sorry.
plates.
I thought you said plays like you wrote a play.
Might be.
If you juggle
my
plays,
dexterity.
that's going to be a
Juggle
lot.
plays. That's
I've
Lin-Manuel
seen that at a
Miranda
Waffle House,
flying
by the
through
way.
the air.
So there I was, Waffle House, 2 a.m. on Memorial Day, and Shiva couldn't hold this many plates with all their arms. and the person we were sitting across goes, "Look at this bitch," and starts snapping, and then it's just, oh man, it's Waffle House, the thin yellow line between hash browns and fist fights.
Check out Christian's art. It's amazing.
Yeah, I draw. Yeah, it's thanks. I got distracted. I'm so hungry.
It's really good.
We're going to
I'm
get
blown
food
away.
after this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But thanks. Yeah, it's interesting doing both comedy and the strip because they both have to do with timing, but one's over space, which means you get to hover over it. Whereas 5 minutes is 5 minutes. If you don't figure that out in real time, you just gotta cut them loose and dip.
Yeah. Well, that's great.
Thanks.
Moira, anything you want to shout out? We'll link all your
Stuff.
socials.
My socials.
Yeah.
I'm on them.
Yes.
Yeah.
This episode won't come out for like I have a lot in the hot.
By then I'll
Hell
get my
yeah.
A
get
month
out of
from
town
today or
bag.
so.
All right.
But where can people catch you on stage?
All around. I'll probably be back in Atlanta sometime around then. I know in July I have the Carnival Macabre
Okay.
situation, which is good. That's at the Gray Eagle, and it's a good like theatrical variety show. They
Okay.
do all kinds of wild stuff.
So it's not just stand up.
It's it's like drag and like
Mhm.
performers, jugglers, like all sorts of crazy stuff.
Cool.
And they do people play songs and make stories, and they have a house band that like does all this cool. It's great.
Okay. Awesome. Well, y'all, I think that's it. Thanks for doing the interview on a short notice. I had a lot of fun. Did you
Yeah, me too.
Job.
Hell
Thanks
yeah.
for having us on. Don't let your memes be dreams, kids.
Great.
Fuck Ronald Reagan.
All right. Thanks, y'all. See you next time.
Once that dealing's done, ain't got no more boats to run. Once that dealing's done, ain't got no boats to run. Once that dealing's done, ain't got no more boats to run. Once that dealing's done.